Hi, I'm David Weber, broker and operating manager of State Property Management, right here in Central Florida. Whether you have one property in Orlando or a whole portfolio across Central Florida, one of the most frustrating parts of being a landlord is this right here, a tenant who stops paying rent. I've been managing rental properties for over 2 decades, and I can tell you nothing eats into your cash flow, time, peace of mind like a non-paying tenant. So in today's video, I'm walking you through what to do when this happens, step by step, the right way, the legal way, and the smart way. We'll cover what to do the moment rent is late, how to communicate with the tenant, when to send notices, and how to protect yourself every step of the way, including when it's time to move forward with eviction. Let's dive in. Step 1, double check the lease and the grace period. First things first, don't panic and don't assume the worst. Before you call or email the tenant, go back and check your lease. What does it say about rent due dates and grace periods? Most leases in Florida say rent is due on the first of the month, but many include a 3 to 5 day grace period before it's officially considered late. And if the last day of the grace period falls on a weekend or holiday, rent is typically due the next business day. Also, check how payment is supposed to be made. Is it through a portal, check or money order, direct deposit? Make sure you didn't miss a payment that's sitting in a P.O. box or queued in the system. It sounds simple, but we've had cases where rent was actually paid, just not recorded or applied correctly. Step 2, send a friendly reminder. If this is the first time a tenant has ever been late, and otherwise they've been on time, respectful, and easy to work with, you might choose to start with a polite reminder. Sometimes life happens. Maybe they changed banks, lost a job, or simply forgot. You can send a short professional message, text, email, or a quick call that says something like this. Hi, insert their name, just a friendly reminder that your rent payment hasn't come through yet this month. If you've already submitted it, feel free to disregard this message. Let us know if there's any issue. That tone keeps the relationship intact while still holding the tenant accountable. But let me be clear, this is not something we recommend doing every time. If the tenant has a history of late payments, skip this step and go straight to the formal notice. Step 3, verify the rent is unpaid and send a non-payment notice. Now, if the rent is officially late and a friendly reminder didn't work, it's time to move forward. The first thing to do in this step is simple but crucial. Make sure the rent actually wasn't paid. Double check your records. Look at bank transfers, payment systems, and mail delivery. We've seen payments mark returned, bounced checks, or processing errors. Once you've confirmed the payment is, in fact, overdue, you need to send a formal written notice. This is not mandatory. You can go straight to a 3-day notice, but we recommend this step first. Typically, this is a more official-looking notice of late rent or notice of non-payment. This document should clearly state the amount due, reference any applicable late fees, include the due date, outline the consequences of non-payment. And here's the most important part. Keep a record of everything. Save the email, save the letter, take a photo of a posted notice. If this goes to court, documentation is everything. Step 4, serve a 3-day notice to pay or vacate. Now we're entering the legal zone. If the tenant still hasn't responded or paid after your written notice, the next step in Florida is the 3-day notice to pay or vacate. This is a legal document that tells the tenant you have 3 days, not including weekends or legal holidays, to either pay the full amount due or vacate the premises. If they do neither, you have the legal right to begin the eviction process. Now let me make something very clear here. I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice. Landlord-tenant laws can change and be interpreted differently depending on the situation. For any legal questions or if you're unsure how to proceed, always consult with a qualified attorney to ensure you're handling everything correctly and within Florida law. That said, here's what the law currently allows. Thanks to a new Florida House bill, landlords can now serve this 3-day notice electronically by email or through a tenant portal. but only if the tenant has previously signed a written agreement consenting to electronic delivery. So if your tenant has signed the electronic delivery form, you can send this 3-day notice digitally. That speeds things up and reduces delays. But if you do not have a signed consent in writing, the electronic notice is not valid, and you could get your eviction case thrown out of court. In that case, you'll need to stick with traditional delivery methods: in person, posted on the property and mailed, or delivered through another method that complies with Florida law and your lease agreement. At State Property Management, we use certified mail or process servers to ensure proper delivery and proof of service. Because when it comes to legal notices, the burden of proof is always on the landlord. Now, if all this sounds exhausting to you, I get it. It's one of the biggest reasons landlords across Central Florida choose to hire us. At State Property Management, we handle every step of this process: rent collection, notices, legal compliance, even eviction coordination when necessary. And more importantly, we take preventative steps like tenant screening, lease enforcement, and automated rent systems to avoid these issues before they even start. If you want a hands-off, stress-free rental experience, head over to managecentralfloridaproperty.com and request a free consultation. Step 5, move forward with eviction. At this point, if the tenant hasn't paid by the end of the 3-day notice period and hasn't vacated the property, it's time to move forward with eviction. Now, let me say this clearly. Again, I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice. Every situation is different, and if you're unsure about any step in the process, I strongly recommend speaking with a licensed attorney. At State Property Management, we work closely with qualified eviction attorneys here in Central Florida, and always use legal counsel when filing an eviction. It helps ensure everything is handled properly and avoids costly mistakes that could delay regaining possession of your property. But if you decide to proceed on your own, here's what the general process looks like in Florida. 1, you file a complaint for eviction with your county clerk's office and pay a filing fee. 2, you must include a copy of the lease agreement, the 3-day notice, proof of how the notice was delivered, a ledger or accounting of the unpaid rent. 3, the court will issue a summons which must be served to the tenant by a process server or sheriff. 4, the tenant has 5 business days to respond in writing to the court. If they don't respond, you can request a default judgment and move forward with the writ of possession. If they do respond, the case could be set for a court hearing, where both sides can present their case. It's also important, if there's a co-signer or guarantor on the lease, that they receive copies of all the notices and are named in the complaint as well. And again, this entire process must follow Florida law closely. Any missteps, incorrect dates, missing documentation, improper notice delivery can result in the case being dismissed, which just delays your ability to recover the property and collect what's owed. Look, I've worked with thousands of tenants, and the truth is, sometimes life happens. People lose jobs, family situations change, emergencies come up, but there's a big difference between a tenant who communicates openly and works towards a solution and one who disappears, avoiding your calls and stops responding. You have to treat this like a business. Be professional, be fair, but don't let emotions or fears of confrontation keep you from enforcing your lease. If you consistently follow these steps, document everything, and stay calm under pressure, you'll regain control legally, efficiently, and respectfully. Let's recap the 5 steps. Number 1, double check the lease and grace period. Number 2, send a friendly reminder if appropriate. Number 3, send a formal non-payment notice. Number 4, serve a 3-day pay or vacate notice. And number 5, move forward with eviction if necessary. If you manage your own property, you'll want to have these steps down cold. If not, or if you're tired of handling it all yourself, that's where we come in. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to help protect your investment. Thanks so much for watching. If this video helped you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tips on managing rental properties the smart way. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to evict a tenant? How did it go? If you're ready to take tenant issues off your plate entirely, get in touch with us at State Property Management. We'll handle it from here. See you in the next video.